morning, everybody. Welcome back to episode 3. If you haven't seen the other episodes, make sure you check in on those to kind of see where we're at, where we started with, and then we're going to move on to this one here. We're finally in the garage, if you can't tell, finally inside. It's super early in the morning. I'm trying to get some stuff done before I have to head off to work, some of the stuff that needs to soak or sit or something like that. So by the time I come home from work, we can check it out. But just want to touch base on one thing. I know I said at the end of my other video that I'm not going to be trying to make this a concourse, award-winning car. You know, there's going to be some things that I do that maybe you would do differently, or that I may not be doing perfectly. I don't plan to be perfect at this, and I'm just going as I kind of go and learning. I'll always take advice, so you guys have advice or anything like that, you're welcome to drop it in the comments below. And you know, I'll take a look at those, and I will reply to as many comments and questions as I can. But yeah, I'll gladly take advice. Anyway, so today I do have a little to-do list for us. This is what we'll be doing. Oh man, excuse me, tickle in my throat. So today we're going to be trying to, first thing is take out the carburetor. There's only 2 bolts on it, so it's going to be coming off pretty easy. Just take out the linkage and drop it in the chem dip over there in the big gallon bucket. And then after that, we're going to be trying to move it by hand. Again, the mystery oil has been sitting for a couple days, so hopefully that's really penetrated. If not, you know, we've got no, yes, depending on what happens, is where we're going to go with it. But let's start at the top. We'll get this carburetor off, get in the cleaner, and keep on moving. Alright, so this isn't going to be like super easy to see, but it's pretty straightforward. I mean, this plastic is so brittle here that it's already chipped off on me. So just tuck that out of the way. There should be 4 bolts, 1 on each corner. There's 1 here, 1 backs out here, and then 2 on this side. The 2 on this side are completely sheared off, so it looks like someone either over torqued it or at a weird angle, you know, sheared it off or something. I don't know what happened here. But there's only 2 out of the 4, which is not ideal, but we will take it. Because studs, luckily, you can kind of thread them out and get them fixed. So get those off. We've got to take out the linkage here for our throttle. Our throttle's here. This is our choke cable. Come out of this here. On the inside of the car by the handbrake, there's a knob on the floor, and that's what works your choke here. So, see if we can get this. There's a little clip on the bottom here. You can see it comes around onto the arm here. Try not to snap it. This metal is, well, this car alone is, what, 52 years old? It's 68, early 68. Alright, so that's off. You can see how it goes through that bottom nut there. Just so I don't forget where it goes, I like to always put the little pieces as much together as I well, as I was saying, back together as I can. I'll grab my little magnet for that. That way it's less to remember what goes where. And it makes it easier to keep track of everything, so you don't have a bunch of piles of stuff everywhere and you forget where it goes. Where did you go? Well, let me grab my magnet. There we go. Where'd it go? Well, of course he's going to be staring at me right in the face, right? Oh, what'd I tell you? Staring me right in the face. Right underneath the throttle linkage there. Alright. we'll keep this up here for good measure because I'll probably do it again. Actually, let's keep this out here. All right, let's try this again, shall we? See, the threads are all nasty too. Before I do a final assembly, I like to take the screws and put them on a on the wire wheel, and it really cleans them up. Easier to go back in. You're not fighting it, you know. Oh, I forgot this one on the back. That way it goes in nice and easy. You know, clean out the threads on the inside. Get a nice good grip too. Some of this gunk has been sitting in here for who knows how long, and you know, it's just good to keep up with that and keep it clean and going. That is on there. Is there something I'm missing? No, got all four. These two are broken off like I thought. This one's got a little washer, but that's not holding me on. Might need a little bit of encouragement. Well then. Don't want to push up on that too much. Alright, so what I've ended up having to do is I can't get this off comfortably without like threat of breaking it, and I really don't want to do that. Especially these last two studs. I don't want to deal with 4 broken studs. So what I've decided to do is just take off the entire intake manifold, which is this kind of stem here underneath it. There are 4 bolts, 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. The thermostat, water temperature thermostat, was sitting here in front, so I couldn't get to this inside one. I just popped that off, tucking it, and then getting down in here. Let me see if I can get you all a little bit closer, a better angle. That should be better. But anyway, so I'm just gonna keep taking these off. Alright, so it's literally been like 15 seconds since I turned y'all off to bring you back. And I realized that when I turn this way to the side and look, there are 2 more nuts on that side. So I have a feeling our carburetor is going to come off a lot easier when those nuts come off. It's not because these are sheared off, it's because the studs go down, not up, which is not obviously what I'm used to. So I just thought they went all the way through, yet here we are. Wrong way. No, I'm right. Alright. Thought I'm losing my mind some more. There we go. Ah, man. All that fussing. Well, at least I got the manifold. That's off too, huh? So this one's pulling out the whole stud, which I guess is alright for now. Alright. So utter defeat right there. Alright, so we're just going to keep going. I'll grab it. It's right down there in the middle, I can see it. So this one, the stud stayed in. So when I go to put these back in, at least that other one that fell, I'm going to put some thread locker on it, and that should stay. Alright, there's that. Put this up here a little bit. Alright, so in theory this should come right up. And there we go. Yeah. It's a little dirty. Let me put this down. So, see how, so this is where the throttle would take it. Okay, so they open all the way. Definitely a little crusty. You can tell the linkage is real stiff. So let's go throw this in the dip. Alright, you know, let's take a second from this. Get that cleaned up. You can tell there's been a lot of oil spill on that. Not oil spill, fuel leaks and things like that. Let me get y'all in here and take a look at this intake manifold here. Let me get you up and grab you some light. I don't know how well you can see that. So it looks okay in there. I mean, you can see the black residue from when it runs a little rich, I guess. Someone didn't have it set right. You can see that this has got like the what do they call it? The environmental stuff, the stuff like that. Now we can get to that nut, no problem. So you see these are the 4 that hold it on. So let's go to the bench. Let's take a look at that carburetor. We'll pop it off, take a look at the float, and then dip it in that cleaner. Alright, so we're going to take apart this carburetor. I don't want to take it completely apart. Have my tray for all my little pieces. I'm just going to take off the top half here. I want to look at the bowl in it. The spacer. See if the float's any good, if it's got a crack in it or anything like that. Because that'll definitely slow us down when it comes to getting started here. So it says 2 different names on it, which I think is interesting. You know, it says Polyeuropea on this side, and this side says Weber. So maybe it's a collaboration. I don't know. On the bottom it'll have the ID on it. I didn't look when I first pulled it off. So as soon as I get this top off, we'll take a look at it. Come on. The good thing is all the screws are the same size. So when it goes to putting together, they've all got a lock washer on them. So I don't think it'll really matter which way they go back. 4, and then there's one more here on the front. I don't want to be in the same situation I was just in with trying to fight with a carburetor with some stuff still attached. So, you have to say I learned my lesson. Not quite out yet. Come on. And some of these just do not like to come out. Granted, if it's been sitting there for 10 years even, Now you're gonna have a little bit of resistance. There it goes. Gotta give a little bit of encouragement. Alright, there it goes. Yeah, so all the screws are the same size. So there's a little linkage on the side here. That's keeping it together. Little retaining clip. Looks more like a cotter pin. Yeah, it's a cotter pin that's in there. Be nice and delicate with this thing. Let me get my little pick. This thing has saved me more than once, so. There it goes. Just don't want to overdo it and break the thing. Last thing I want to do is buy all this nickel and dime stuff because that'll really add up on you. As I just drop it on the floor. Thank you, magnet. Found it. Alright. So we'll pop this out. See, now it's free. It's part of that choke assembly. Alright. We have good movement on the float. Make sure y'all can see it. So we have good movement. A good way to test this is if you blow in upside down, you shouldn't get any air. But when you flip it and blow into it, you should feel the air go through. So no air that way. So if we flip it, you can hear that. So it means that the pin here works, which is good. And the good thing is the float looks really good. It's metal, it's not plastic. I was expecting a plastic one. So that's really good. It's clean, the gasket looks okay. A little bit of stuff going on here. Looks good. Let's go on to the next part here. Alright, so we got a little bit of chalkiness going on in here. Just a little bit of powder. And not a darn thing in it though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out these jets. These jets here. And clean them out. We'll put them in the tray. Got a little carb cleaner basket here. And set them in there, and we'll get those clean. But I want to lay them out. That way I know where they all sit. If I can get them out. So there's a little plastic clip or a washer here. I don't know if it's plastic or gasket material. That doesn't need to go in the cleaner. But this looks good. I don't know how well y'all can see that. All the jets, I can see daylight through them. Look into the light with that one. I can see daylight through it. I don't know how unclogged that's supposed to be. Looks like it's this is part of the little jet here. So these will definitely go in there. And then we've got these two here in the middle. Lots smaller. A little dirty. It's okay. One. A little small guy. This one's a lot cleaner. So we'll stick those in there. Well, there's all that powder. So we'll take these ones out on the side too, just for just to be thorough. Get every port. This is our mix screw right here. That one was in there pretty far. There's a lot of tension on that. You can see how high this comes out. definitely could use this clean, so we'll stick that in there too. We got one here. Yeah, so that long one was our mix screw. It's probably our fine adjustment here. I have to look. I can see straight through it, which is good. We're still going to stick it in there though to be safe. I'm not going to mess with the diaphragm. I don't know, maybe I should. If I'm afraid if I take it out, then I'm going to have to get a new one. And I don't really have one right now, so I'm not really in a huge rush to get one. Or to mess with it, I should say. Here's another mixer. That looks good too, but we're going to clean that also. So, we're going to leave the diaphragm alone. You can tell by the outside, it's, I don't see any cracks in it on the outside, so it's okay. Take off this paper gasket if I don't break it. Alright. I'm going to let that sit in here. So we've got all the jets are in the bottom. Stick this on top. Try to at least. I don't know if I'm going to be able to close the lid. It would be nice. You've got these little jets here too. Want to definitely make sure those get in there. I think we'll do something like this. Not pretty, but it's what I can get to work. So maybe I can stack it in there like that. What do you think? I think that's what I'll go for. So we'll go straight in with this. Try not to splash, make a mess. Alright, that is in the bottom. Stick this part on top. Make sure everything gets covered. Alright, so got it all in there. I'm trying to get the there it goes. Okay, so I'm gonna let that sit in there. You know, when I go to work today. Let that sit. Keep these over here. And we've got a little bit of time, so let's go back over and take a look at that intake manifold and see what we're working with. Alright, so we're going to be taking off the intake manifold here. There's only 4 bolts here. That last one, of course, came off super easy with the carburetor off. So I already took it off. My memory card got full real quick, so I had to start over here, but I took those nuts off, real straightforward, just 4 with the little washers. Turn my light here. And we can see on the, if I can get it right, it's actually pretty clean in here. I was expecting it to be like jet black. The gasket on the bottom, there's no gasket on it, the gasket's still on there, but looks good on here. You can kind of see it was riding one side pretty heavily, so maybe we can get that realigned. I think it was put on backwards, maybe. I'll have to take a look. So anyway, but this is a part of the exhaust, not exhaust, the what do you call it? Quality air control EPA stuff here. So we might be able to just plug that up and call it a day. So we look at here. The gasket's on there, right? Okay, so there's actually a beveled edge on here. I'll show you all in a second. The gasket's on there, still nice and no cracks, no tears. Looks pretty good. So someone's obviously replaced it recently. Let me get y'all in here. Whoops, bringing all your cords with you. All right. So this edge here, let me get y'all up. There's an edge right here. It's beveled. and that's what we saw on the manifold. But inside, let's get a better look here. Hopefully it doesn't wash you out too much. Dark, definitely rich, but that's okay. You know. All right, so that's off. We have it in the cleaner, the carburetor in the cleaner. So what we can do is we're going to give it a try to turn by hand. I don't know how successful we're going to be. We're going to give it a shot. Well, we've got a couple minutes here to do so before I got to get changed and set for work. You know, I don't expect it to move. Take this out of the way. I'd really like for it to, of course, save me the hassle of doing some troubleshooting. So let's see. Oh yeah, that sucker's not moving. Alright. So what does that mean for us? No movement. So, let's get back to the whiteboard and find out what we got to do. So we couldn't get the engine to move. We did get the carburetor off, and in the cleaner we took out the major jets. The gaskets looked good, there weren't any tears. You know, we found that bag a couple episodes ago, maybe last episode, with all the gaskets in it. I'm going to see if there's anything in it, because there was that one white box that had carburetor stuff in it. It'd be nice if it had a new gasket, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. The gaskets here look good, and especially on the one on the bottom of the carburetor, no tears, cracks. Couldn't see any marks of any leaks, of fuel leaks or anything like that. So we couldn't get it to turn, so what are we going to do now? Well, we need to drain the oil. There's a drain plug on the bottom, just like any other car. And I'm going to take off the drain plate, the drain plate, the centrifugal oil filter system. So it's on the front. I have to remove that front drive belt. There's just several screws that hold it on, or bolts I should say. Pop it off, take a look at it. I'm expecting some sludge. I know we checked the oil in, I think, episode 1. It was pretty dark, but it was pretty full, so hopefully I kept everything nice and wet, so we don't have any issues with that. There are the motor mount is here in the front, and is going to be tough to get around, but I think we'll be okay. After we drain the oil, I'm going to take the head off of this, and I want to get down in there and look at the tops of those pistons. I know the mystery oil is still in there. I can still see the red through the spark plug holes, and then we'll see if we can get like a rubber mallet and a piece of wood and see if we can tap down on the heads of the pistons and see if we can get those to move that way. It's really hard to kind of get your angle in there with this motor mount in the way and things like that. So I'm just going to drain the oil. It's not really much to see. There's just a drain plug in the left middle. I'm going to let that drain while I'm gone at work today. And then maybe this evening when I come back, we'll be able to shoot that, taking off the centrifugal oil filter on the front, and then clean that up, stick it back on, refill it with some cheap grade oil, just have some stuff in it so it's not running empty, and we'll see. Hopefully it'll turn out better being able to get direct access to the pistons and get it to turn. Anyway, so let's get back this evening and take a better look. Alright, so I'm back home from work. I had a little bit of time. I just got the carburetor out of the chem dip. That's sitting behind you on a bucket over there. So I pulled the parts out and they look a lot better. Let me grab my flashlight here and I'll show you. It kind of washes you out. Does that help? Kinda. So I know it's not the best, but it's a lot cleaner than that chalky mess we started with. All the jets are cleaned out. The main jet I didn't show in the last video, but I did pull it out and it's all here. Looks good. All the other jets are nice, cleaned out. Our fuel mixer spring is good. So all I'm going to do is reassemble this. And I know we checked our float earlier today too, and that's also earlier, but I'm just going to reassemble this and have it ready to go because we're going to get back to the car, which is behind me here. and take a closer look. Those pistons still aren't moving, and the mister oil's been sitting for a while. So I think I'm going to pull the head on it and see if I can just get them to tap down and move. But I'm just going to put this back together, and we'll get back to the car. Alright, well, there's been a little change of plans. You just saw me put the carburetor together. It is the next day from that video. I had a friend come over last night as I was finishing up that carburetor bit, and kind of got distracted, and him and I kind of jump started on some other things in here. So I'm going to kind of put that back together, and I'm going to show you all how we did it now that I know how it all flows. So we're not going to be doing that oil change like I mentioned earlier. I'm going to end with that carburetor bit. So just don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, so you can see the next coming episode where we'll be taking off the head, the valve cover, taking a look at all that, the rocker arms, all that stuff. So make sure you subscribe so you can see what's going on, comment, like, ask questions. I'll get to everybody that I can, and I'll see y'all next time.